It was about 10 years ago that I first heard the phrase, let me make sure I get this right, if people aren't criticizing you, you aren't doing enough. And I remember hearing it from a guy on stage and I was thinking, is that true? Right? Is that actually true? Yet when I actually did sales, this is when I was back at university, it actually really hit home for me as to how true this is. So I was doing sales door to door and I was selling charity. So I was literally knocking door on door and I was there being like, hey, would you be open to supporting Scope, one of this disabled charities? It's like £2 a month. And I'd literally go down door to door and do this. This is like one of the first jobs I ever had. And when I was doing it, I came up to this blue door. I'll never forget it. So it's this blue door and I walk in. This guy comes out. He's got a bit of a big belly. He opens the door and he looks at me like this, right? And I said, good morning, I'm here with Scope, and suddenly he just cuts me off. He says, get off my doorstep. He said, I don't know who you are, but you need to get off right now. I've had enough of you effing this, effing that, effing that. Get out. F you. And I was like, Jesus. And I was so shocked. I was just like, what the hell? And literally for the rest of that day, I was just ruminating this conversation in my head thinking, what could I have done different? I was there, I was smiling, I was happy, I was ready to rock and roll. And this guy has literally just got a bat and be like, bam, 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 and just knock the crap out of me. And it was such a horrible experience. And I remember speaking to one of the leaders at the time, and I said, what do I do? That guy's ruined my day. It was so challenging. What he said to me was this. He said, look, let's call this guy Bob. He said, now, Bob is always going to be Bob. You can't change Bob. 5 years later, if you go to the same door, Bob's still going to be there. He's going to have slightly less hair, be slightly fatter, and is still going to be annoyed, right? But you can't let Bob impact you because there's nothing you can do about it. And that's where I thought, wow, that's so true. And how often in life does this happen? The more impact we have in the world, the more people we connect with, we're going to find different Bobs. People that don't like what we do, that diss us, that say things are wrong. And that's when I realized how true this is. That if people aren't criticizing you, you really aren't doing enough. Because remember, you have to repel in order to attract. And that is so, so, so important. And there's one other story that I want to lead to, which is when I was out in China. And I was doing one of my events, killed it, it was great, it was for the Brit Club, so I had my British peeps, I was like, this is going to be amazing. Did an hour and a half, it was great, had a wonderful time. Now what happened after that is I literally was having a conversation with these two ladies that come to a lot of my events, they're big fans of mine, and suddenly this guy comes up and he says, just so you know, you talk really quickly, which shows you're a negative person, right? And I'm like, what is this dude chatting about? These two ladies were pissed. They were like, how can you say that? You didn't even hear the talk. You don't even know who this is, blah, 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 right? And they have a proper go at it. And I find this funny. I'm amused. And that's when I realized how easy it is for us to be influenced by other people. It is so, so, so important to not allow criticism of other people to really impact you, the way you are. And, I feel like I'm throwing out examples here, but hopefully one of these will resonate. I was chatting to one of my clients recently, and I used the example of tea, okay? There are lots of people, there's lots of tea lovers in the world, right? People like green tea, they like red tea, they like black tea, they like chamomile tea, whatever kind of teas, right? Now, just because someone likes one kind of tea, but doesn't like another kind of tea, that doesn't mean that teas are bad or that tea isn't good. I like green tea, I don't like black tea as much. That doesn't mean black tea isn't good, it's just not right for me. And this is where you've got to be able to have a bit of green tea and think, you know what, I'm obviously not right for this person. That's okay. Because if you keep keeping yourself small and you don't expand, what will happen is you'll end up shrinking down and you won't have an impact at all. So I really hope that this resonates with you. And if you see a Bob, or if you have someone in your life like that, you can actually take it with a breath of fresh air and think, you know what? I'm actually heading in the right direction.